Happy New Year, everybody. I'm not teasing. I'm just late. Made no New Year's resolutions to be on time. Not what I wished for this year. I hope everybody's good and had a good New Year's. I don't know why I'm moving. I don't know why I do that. Um, I hope that everybody has had a wonderful last night. I did. But we have more court to watch as we usually do. Late but beautiful. Thank you, Iowa. Um, I would like to say an apology to the faith that I had in the hair curlers yesterday. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. So I still have some curly hair and then some extremely straight hair. Very funny. Uh, I know I'm a little tired as well, but not really. Um, I had such a blast and wanted to start out uh this year. Seems weird to say that, but with different judges, but who am I kidding? If Dismissal Dan had had a docket, we would be watching it, but he didn't. So we had to branch out a little bit. Um, Apparently this is Judge Fairy, so we're going to be visited by a fairy on New Year's Day. Now this is not obviously live because that's not what this is, but we are going to have some fun with it. So let's hear how this judge does it and then we'll go from there. I'm going to get a drink. Yeah, let's just have a good. It's like a Sunday, but it's like a Monday. Wait, it is a Monday. It's like a Sunday. I'm glad. And I know it's a late party, but we did. mm, Here's the thing. As soon as I finished last night, I was like, it is hard to do that straight for that long without breaks. I wish I had other co-hosts. Um, Maybe next year, hey? Maybe next year I'll host a soiree as well with other co-hosts that I can pass the floor to. Anyways, let's see how this judge does it. And yeah, happy first of the year. Happy first of the year. Don't press the right button, Paisley. Hi, Tommy. Happy New Year's.
Hello. Okay, good morning, everyone. We are now streaming live on YouTube. Today is November 22nd, 2023.
Ooh, so long ago. But yes, we are a judge streaming live on YouTube in 2024, not 2023. Um, if you're just getting here, welcome. Tell me what you had for dinner. If you didn't like what you had for dinner, tell me what you wish you had for dinner. Also, uh, like the video. That's it. I was like, what did you forget? Like the fucking video.
I am Judge Anyama Ferry. I am with the Magistrate Court of Clayton County, and I am the Magistrate Court Judge presiding over this morning's calendar. If you are having trouble hearing me, just please let me know at any time. There are a few things that I need to go over with you prior to starting the calendar, so please listen carefully as it will help you better understand the nature and purpose of today's proceeding. First, I am not here to try your case, take a plea, or have any legal discussions with you about the specific facts of your case. This is an informational proceeding. The purpose of this first appearance hearing is to inform you of the charges that were brought against you, is to advise you of certain rights, It is to set bond on those offenses for which the court is authorized to set bond on. It is to schedule a preliminary hearing and also to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney.
And it's also for us to watch and see what people get charged with overnight. So don't forget that very important part, Judge. That's why we love it.
You do have the right to remain silent. Please do not attempt to tell me specifics about your case or any legal defense that you may have. As I said earlier, we are streaming live and this hearing is being recorded. So anything you say during this proceeding can and will be used against you in later proceedings. Now, during this and all other proceedings, you do have the following rights. You have the presumption of innocence. You have the right to an indictment by a grand jury for felonies or the right to an accusation for misdemeanors. You have the right to a speedy and public trial by jury. You have the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf. You have the right to see, hear, and question any witnesses who are called to testify against you. You have a right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense. You have the right to have an attorney represent you. If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you if you qualify. Also, if you are not a citizen, there are some charges that may adversely affect your immigration status, and you will need to consult an attorney regarding that issue. Now, I want to explain to you bond. Some of you will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds for your release from jail, pending the prosecution of your case. Now, these bonds may be posted in 3 different ways. There's the cash bond, commercial bond, or property bond. If you post a cash bond, that means someone will deliver the full amount of the bond in cash together with any mandated fees to the sheriff's office, who will hold it until after your final court date and at the conclusion of your case, at which time your cash will be returned to the person who posted it. That is the first option. So if your bond is $1,000, you pay $1,000 plus any mandated fees in cash to the sheriff's office. Second option is if you don't have the full bond amount in cash, you could also use a commercial bonding company who may take up to 15% of the bond for their service. This fee will not be returned to you. So if you have $1,000 bond and you call around to some bonding companies and they tell you that the bond is 15% of whatever your bond amount is, or the fee is 15% of whatever your bond amount is, that means if you have a bond of $1,000, 15% is $150. So you pay that to the sheriff's, to the commercial bonding company as their fee, and that money is not returned to you. The third option is you may have someone post what is called a property bond, as long as there is net equity in that property of at least 3 times the amount of your bond. For example, if I set a bond for $1,000, your property must have at least $3,000 in equity to qualify as a property bond. So those are the 3 different ways that you can post bond this morning. If you're granted a bond while you are out on missions that prohibit you from contacting certain people or going to certain places. For example, if you have a no contact provision on your bond, this means you must stay away and have no contact with the victim. You may not call, text, email, write a letter to, or contact through any social media platform the victim whatsoever. You also cannot contact the victim through DM, text, through any type of third party. You can't go through a family member in an attempt to contact the victim. Just no contact whatsoever. If I order you to not return to a particular location, that means you cannot go back to that location for any reason. If the no return to location is a shared residence, meaning you reside there with the alleged victim, please let me know, and I will authorize you to go back but only while accompanied by a sheriff to collect some of your personal belongings that are not in dispute, meaning that there is no issue with who owns that property. Now, you would need to make an appointment within 10 days of being released. The court takes these special conditions very seriously. Now, unfortunately, some percentage of you will be back in custody on a bond revocation because you didn't take what I'm saying seriously. And instead, you may return to the residence or you may try to reconcile with the victim. This is not appropriate. It is a violation of the bond order. And if you violate the bond, you will be arrested. You may be charged with additional offenses such as aggravated stalking or influencing a witness. And these type of charges carry punishment of up to 20 years in prison and $20,000 in fines. So we do take these bond conditions seriously. Do not violate them. Just follow the order until the condition is modified or until your case is resolved. Also, if you have a spouse, family member, or friend who is the alleged victim in your case, he or she will not be allowed to post your bond, as the court will have a no contact order as a special condition on your bond. You are also not allowed to contact the victim while you are in jail. You will need to contact someone else to assist you with bonding out. Now, some of you are charged with offenses for which this court is not authorized by law to set bail. In this event, a bond hearing will be scheduled before a judge of the Superior Court of Clayton County. If you are currently on active probation, this court is not authorized to set bond at this time, and whether a bond is appropriate in your case will be reconsidered after your probation officer has had an opportunity to consider this new arrest. So I will be giving each and every one of you a court date. That court date is called your preliminary hearing date. Listen closely. The purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine whether there is enough evidence or probable cause to keep you detained on your charges. If you bond out, your preliminary hearing is automatically waived because you are out of jail and you are no longer detained. So depending on what your charges are, I will provide you with your next court date, which is your preliminary hearing date. If you are charged with misdemeanors only, when you come up before the court, you may request to waive your preliminary hearing date. What that does is it just moves your case along the pipeline a little quicker. Waiving your preliminary hearing does not affect your rights. It doesn't affect your bond amount or whether or not you can bond out. It just moves your case from magistrate court, where you are right now, to state court a little faster. So what I would like to do now is have each and every one of you raise your right hands. Let me swear you in. Do you swear or affirm that the information you're about to give to this court, as well as any information you provided on your application for a court-appointed counsel, is true and correct? If so, say I do and lower your hands.
I do.
Okay. Thank you. All right, we will go ahead and start with the female inmates.
Your Honor, can we do an admin first and then proceed with the female?
Sure. Who did you want to do first?
His last name is Harris.
We good? We're still up? I push that in a little bit. It's cool, bro. We understand. We're gonna do Harry first. I had just got words. I knew that. It was first. Yeah. We're talking today. We're talking today. Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready when you are. Can we lift the camera just a little bit? All right, good morning. Are you Mikhail Harris? Okay, Mr. Harris, you've been charged with one felony offense of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. I'm not setting a bond here today. I'm scheduling a separate court date for that. That court date will be set for January 12th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. It will take place by Zoom video conference. Your preliminary hearing date is scheduled for January 8th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. And that will take place by Zoom video conference as well. I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I will appoint an attorney to represent you. You have any questions for me, Mr. Harris? Okay, you may be excused. Thank you, sir.
Yes. You can just.
And you could just go ahead and have the ladies come up, and I'll just take them as they come up.
Anthony. Hello.
Hi, good morning. May I have your name?
Yana Anthony.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Anthony, you've been charged with 2 offenses. You have a battery offense. That bond is set at $2,500. You also have a criminal damage in the 2nd degree. That bond is set at $3,000. So your total bond amount is $5,500. You understand what I've mentioned so far? Your next court date, or excuse me, before I tell you your next court date, I do want to let you know you have some special conditions to your bond. And that is to stay away and have no contact with Takia Oliver or Tamara Royster. Also, you are not to return to 1718 Broad River Road in College Park, Georgia. Do you understand those special conditions? Okay, your next court date I am scheduling for January 8th, 2024, because one of your charges is a felony. That's the criminal damage in 2nd degree. So January 8th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. It will take place by Zoom video conference. But if you make bond before then, you won't have to come to court. You'll receive a new court date in the mail of when to come back. If you're still incarcerated on January 8th, you will be brought up for your hearing at that time. I did receive your application for a court-appointed attorney. Give me 1 second. You plan on hiring your own attorney? Or have you thought that far ahead? What are your plans?
Probably gonna hire my own attorney for this case.
It's only 4 that we said.
Okay. All right, because I'm looking at your application and you do exceed income requirements. So I won't be able to grant your request for a court-appointed attorney. Okay, so I'll indicate that you may have plans of hiring your own attorney. You have any questions regarding the information I just provided you?
No, you said bond was 55.
5,500. All right. Well, with that, you may be excused, ma'am. Best of luck to you. Good morning. May I have your name?
Bender.
Say one more time for me.
Lika Bender.
I already told them I'm coming back. They were limit on.
Okay. All right, Ms. Bender, you've been charged with 1 misdemeanor false statements. Your bond is set at $1,000. You understand your charge?
False statements? What an interesting charge. You don't have to talk to the police, but when you do, you have to tell the truth. And that's the lesson there.
charge?
Ma'am.
Well, they,
I can't hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
they're trying to get to him.
Okay, thank you. Officers, I know you all are talking. It's interfering with my ability to hear the inmate. So if y'all could just keep it down to a minimum. Ms. Bender, your next court date is scheduled for January 9th, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. It will take place by Zoom video conference. If you bond out prior to that date, then you won't have to come back to court. If you're still incarcerated, then we'll bring you up for a preliminary hearing by Zoom video conference. You also have the option of waiving that court date, waiving your preliminary hearing. Do you want to waive it or do you want to keep the court date scheduled?
Waive it.
Okay, so you will be provided a waiver form. So just make sure you sign it legibly. And so you will receive a new court date in the mail since you're waiving the January 9th, okay? And your bond is set at $1,000. Let me take a look at your application for a court-appointed attorney.
Yes.
I am appointing an attorney to represent you, Ms. Bender, so you will have counsel present. You have any questions regarding the information I just gave you?
No, ma'am.
All right, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh.
Good morning, may I have your name?
Yeah, they continue. What's that? They continue to talk in the background. I know. It's fucking annoying, isn't it? Yeah, I know. I'm aware. Okay. I'll talk to you later. Jay, welcome. Happy New Year's. Yeah. How many times would again, you don't have to say anything to the police, but apparently when you do, you gotta tell the truth. Oh, breaking news. No.
Dual goss.
Yeah.
Okay. One moment, Ms. Goss. All right, Ms. Goss, you've been charged with 2 misdemeanors. One simple assault, family violence, that bond is $1,000, and another simple assault, family violence, that bond is $1,000. So your total bond amount is $2,000. You have a special condition. You're to stay away and have no contact with your parents, Joyce Goss and Tyrone Goss. I'm also not allowing you to return to 10915 University Drive in Jonesboro, Georgia. If you have belongings there, I will allow you to go back with the sheriff to collect some of your personal items that are not in dispute. So when you bond out, you will have to make an appointment with the sheriff's office to accompany you to go back to that residence. Do not go back without a sheriff accompanying you. Do you understand everything I've mentioned so far?
Yes.
All right, your next court date is your preliminary hearing date. That court date is currently scheduled for January 9th, 2024 at 8:30 by Zoom video conference. You do have the option of waiving that court date. It doesn't affect you bonding out. It just moves your case a lot quicker. If you bond out, you waive that court date anyway. But I'll ask you, do you want to sign a waiver waiving that court date, or do you want to keep it scheduled?
Can I ask a question about how to bond out? If I'm bonding myself out, how would I do that if my money is at my parents' house?
So as I mentioned, you can go through a commercial bonding company. You can use a cash bond or a property bond. I can't help you figure that out. Those are your options, and you can pay the $2,000 to bond out. But you'll have to make other phone calls to someone else besides your parents to assist you with that. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, you can't call your parents, but if you can call some other people to help you out, you'll have to do that. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing date, or do you want to keep it scheduled?
Waive it, but I don't have anything.
Okay.
They did not allow me to take my phone or my purse, so I can't make any calls.
All right. Just make sure you sign the waiver form that you are given and make sure it's legible so I understand you're the one that signed the waiver. I did review your application for a court-appointed attorney. I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you. So you will have counsel that you can talk to and ask questions to, and they can advise you along the way. You have any other questions, Ms. Goss?
No.
I'm sorry, was that no?
No, I don't have any questions.
Henry?
Okay, best of luck to you.
Is that it?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
That's you wait.
Intercom and CH12.
Yes, 12.
Give me one moment.
Okay, Judge, you can have one moment. Good time for me to say hi, Chuck.
Okay, may I have your name, please?
Deborah Gillespie.
Okay, Ms. Gillespie, you've been charged with one misdemeanor offense of simple battery family violence. I've set that bond at $1,000. You do have a special condition, and that is to stay away and have no contact with Michael Spearman while this bond condition is in place. You also cannot return to 5704 Williamsburg Trace in Atlanta, Georgia. Do you understand what I've mentioned so far?
Yes.
Do you have any personal belongings that you need to obtain from that residence?
I do, but it's my house.
So I will indicate on the bond order that you can return back with a sheriff accompanying you. Just make an appointment with their office within 10 days of bonding out, and they can accompany you to collect some of your personal belongings. But don't go back without a sheriff accompanying you. Do you understand that condition?
Yes.
Okay, your next court date is scheduled currently for January 9th, 2024 at 8:30. It will take place by Zoom video conference. However, if you bond out, that court date is automatically waived, or you can go ahead and sign a waiver today, waiving that court date. Do you want to waive that court date or leave it scheduled?
Wait.
Okay, so you'll be provided a waiver form. Just sign it, make sure it is legible and I can read it. And your new court date will come in the mail. I did receive your application for a court-appointed attorney. I will appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions for me, Ms. Gillespie?
Yes, so being that it's my house, because he doesn't live there, so what do I do? Because my kids there too and they go to school. That's what I'm saying, it's my house, but he doesn't live there.
Hang on, Ms. Gillespie, give me 1 second. Let me review the warrant again. Give me one moment.
Okay.
Interesting predicament. They always say, we don't live together. It's my house.
Have you all lived together before?
No, like he was just over there at my house, like he doesn't live there, it's my house, it's my lease. Like he's non-existent.
Okay, because I'm reviewing this warrant and it clearly states this incident is family violence due to both parties living together at the same residence of 5704 Williamsburg Trace, Atlanta, Georgia. That is what the officer swore out to. At this time, sitting here today, I don't have enough information to determine. I hear what you're saying, and I'm receiving what you're saying, but I also hear what the officer is saying too. We don't have the named victim here. We don't have the state here. I'm not comfortable removing that condition at this time, that's something you'll have to work around and figure out. As I mentioned, you can contact the sheriff to accompany you back to the residence to get whatever you need or make whatever arrangements you need to. But I'm going to leave that condition in place. I did appoint an attorney to represent you, so talk to your lawyer about modifying that condition as it relates to the residents. But at this time, I'm going to leave that special condition in place. You have any other questions?
And talk to who? Could you cut out? I didn't hear.
Oh, I'm sorry. Talk to the lawyer that I appointed. So I appoint an attorney to represent you. So that way you have counsel to advise you and represent you throughout this case. And your lawyer knows what to file in order to modify the bond condition. So you'll have an opportunity to get that done. But at this stage today, I'm not changing the bond condition. You have any other question?
So once I bond out, I make an appointment to get my stuff and my kids' stuff and just go wherever.
Correct. Yes, ma'am. Any other questions?
No.
Okay. You may be excused. Good morning. May I have your name?
Elisa Meyer.
Our outfits look the same. Basically. Let's just put that behind me. Hi, Gracie T. Welcome. Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's to everybody if you're just getting here. Internet's shitty today. I don't know why. Thanks, Canada. Anyways, seriously, Happy New Year. The judge has not dismissed anything yet, and I'm depressed about it. I am getting less dismissal vibes here. A lot of DV with these women, which is not good at all. At all, but let's continue. I do like how she puts her own, as usual, judges put their own little personal twist on certain things they have to say all the time. And hers is I'll remember it when I hear it again.
All right, Ms. Myers, you've been charged with one misdemeanor offense of battery family violence. I've set that bond at $5,000. You also have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Tiana Farrell. You understand what I've mentioned so far?
Ma'am.
Okay, your next court date is scheduled for January 9th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. That is your preliminary hearing date that will take place by Zoom video conference if you're still incarcerated. If you're no longer incarcerated, that court date won't take place. It's been automatically waived by you bonding out. Or you can waive that court date today. Do you want to waive it today or you want to leave it scheduled?
Waiving it will make it sooner.
It just moves your case along a lot faster. Yes, ma'am.
And I would like to waive it.
Okay, so you will be provided a waiver form there. Just sign it legibly so that way I know it is your signature. And you'll receive a new court date in the mail. So it won't be January 9th, it'll be another court date. I'm sorry?
Question.
Yes, give me 1 second. Hang on, I'm gonna ask you. Give me 1 second. I wanted to tell you about your application for a court-appointed attorney. I did receive your application and I am appointing an attorney to represent you, Ms. Myers. So you will have counsel present with you in court and throughout the duration of your case. All right, now I'll turn the floor to you. What question do you have for me?
Is Tiana Farrell the only party listed on the report?
On the warrant, hang on, let me switch screens here. Give me 1 second and I'll let you know.
Very specific question. She definitely knows that name too. Concerning.
So as it relates to the name victim, Tiana Farrell is the only named victim. Now, as it relates to the narrative, like the details and probable cause that led to the officer taking out this warrant, there are some other individuals like witnesses included in that narrative. But as far as the name victim is only Tiana Farrell.
I
Does that
appreciate
answer your question?
it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You may be excused. Good morning. May I have your name?
Gabrielle Williams.
Okay. All right, Ms. Williams, you've been charged with 2 misdemeanors. You have theft of services, that bond is $2,000. And you also have a obstruction or obstructing an officer. I've set that bond at $1,000. So your total bond amount is $3,000. You do have a special condition. You can't go back to the nail salon located at 7135 Highway 85 in Riverdale, Georgia. Do you understand everything I've mentioned thus far?
Yes.
Okay. So your next court date is currently scheduled for January.
No, I don't. Why can't she go back to the nail salon? What the fuck did you do? What did you do at the fucking nail salon to get kicked out and have a no trespass order there now? That's nuts. Also, I'm eating chips. That's crazy.
Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me double check, make sure I have this right court date before I tell you.
Somebody else decide.
Happy New Year, Donna. Thank you so much. Appreciate you and your gifting. Oh, so she refused to pay? But that's nuts. What on earth?
Okay, so your next court date is scheduled for January 9th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. It will take place by Zoom video conference if you're still incarcerated. If you bond out before the 9th, that court date is automatically waived and you won't have your preliminary hearing because you've bonded out. Or you can waive your preliminary hearing this morning. Do you want to sign a waiver to waive that January 9th date, or do you want to leave it scheduled?
Leave it scheduled.
Okay. All right. So as I mentioned, once you bond out, it will be automatically waived, but for now it's set at January 9th. I did receive your application for a court-appointed attorney. And I'm going to grant your request. So you will have an attorney present with you at all of your court proceedings. Do you have any questions, Ms. Williams?
No.
Okay, you may be excused. There's another female inmate by the name of Presley. Last name Presley.
She's coming up now. Oh, no, she won't hurt her.
Okay. I don't, is there anyone else besides Ms. Presley?
Yes, ma'am, we got one more female. No. We got
Let me get I'm sorry?
3 more females. Hey, sure.
Okay, I don't have, give me 1 sec. Are you Ms. Presley?
Yeah.
Okay, 1 second. Ms. Thomas, I don't see a bond order from Ms. Presley.
It may be in Jots, because I was just looking myself.
Yeah, but we got a bond order in Jots.
Let me
Fair.
see.
Bond order in Jots for this person.
And I don't know if I saw, let me double check in Jots real quick just to make sure. Hold on for me, Ms. Presley.
And I'm checking as well, Your Honor.
Okay.
You want to speak to? No.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor, I see Ms. Presley in JOTS.
Do as well. Give me 1 second. Hold on tight for me, Ms. Presley. I'm sorry, I didn't have your phone right in front of me. Give me 1 moment.
Good morning, Robert, and Happy New Year. They're just figuring something out at the jail. I'm eating chips as a little snack. It feels like it's New Year's Day.
Is because I don't think I saw any committal documents for her, like a WAA or a warrant of some sort. Can you look into that for me? And while I handle these other inmates, Ms.
Yes, I
Presley, I'm gonna have
do.
you.
I'm sorry, I do see it on JOTS, all of the WAAs, all of them
Okay.
are on JOTS.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me look then. I just looked. Hold on.
When you select the actual warrant, then click on view reports, it should come up for you.
Okay, thank you. Hold on.
You're welcome.
Also, in case you missed it last night, we watched a really cool fireworks display from Sydney, Australia. They freaking do fireworks epically in Australia. That's what I gotta say. Hi, Steffi B. Hope you're doing well. How's your New Year's going so far? Make sure you clock in for your shift, please. Hit the like button. I just gotta stop eating those chips. I'm hungry, but I can't eat the chips. Not good.
They shoelace on the ground, like trip.
Your Honor, I'm checking for the criminal history as well. I don't see that.
Yeah, that one I do have. That was one I saw, and I do see the warrants too. So we're all good to go.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're good to go on that. Thank you. Hold on for me, Ms. Presley. Just stand by.
Stand by, folks. You heard that correct. Stand by while she goes ahead and I'll eat one more chip. I'm gonna regret it. I think I've told you guys about the weird thing I do with chips, but in case my future husband is watching, I'm not gonna tell him again.
Okay, Ms. Presley. So you have been charged with 3 misdemeanor offenses: loitering or prowling. I've set that bond at 1,000. Obstruction of an officer. I've set that bond at 1,000. and giving false information to an officer. I've set that bond at $1,000. Your total bond amount is $3,000. You have the special condition, your bond, that you are to stay away and don't return to 145 Royce Drive in Jonesboro, Georgia. Do you understand everything I've mentioned so far? Okay. Your next court date is currently scheduled for January 9th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. by Zoom video conference. Now, if you bond out before January 9th, you won't have to come back to court. You'll receive a new court date in the mail. Or you can sign a waiver today and waive that January 9th court date. And your case will move along a little quicker. So you want to waive that court date, or do you want to keep it scheduled? I'm going to go ahead and keep it scheduled. So we'll keep it on the calendar for January 9th, okay? If you bond out, it'll be automatically waived, but I'm going to keep it scheduled. And let me take a look at your application for court-appointed counsel. I am appointing an attorney to represent you. So you will have counsel present, and your attorney knows that, you know, you can waive that court date at any time, but talk to your lawyer about that. But you will have counsel present at all of your court proceedings. Do you have any questions regarding the information I just gave you, Ms. Presley? What's your question?
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, do you have any questions about the information I just gave you?
Oh. I can't hear
Okay,
that.
you may be excused.
Yeah.
Okay, you're good to go. You're good to go.
I got it. There you go.
All right, who do I have next?
Got one more, Judge.
Okay, good morning. May I have your name?
Connor Shorter.
Speak up a little louder for me.
Connor Shorter.
Oh, Ms. Shorter. Oh,
Thomas Shorter, I swear to God, she's saying. Also, yeah, attitude much on the last one, right? This is quite the docket already. Quite the docket. Again, don't lie to the police. You don't have to talk to them, but if you do, you have to tell the truth.
Where's the strap?
all right, Ms. Shorter, you have been charged with one felony offense of aggravated assault. I've set that bond at $15,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Nicholas Randolph. Do you understand what I've mentioned so far?
It's fine. So how do I go get all the rest of my stuff from the house?
So I will indicate, which residence are you referring to?
His house.
Okay, what address is that, so I can put it on the bond order and allow you to go back to get your belongings? So go back, by making an appointment with the sheriff's office. You just have to make that appointment within 10 days of being released from jail. They have to accompany you to go back and collect some of your belongings. Don't go back without an officer accompanying you, okay? Because I don't want you to inadvertently violate this bond condition.
That's fine.
All right, so your next court date I am scheduling for January 8th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. by Zoom video conference. If you bond out before then, you won't have to come back to court. If you're still incarcerated, you'll be brought up and there will be a hearing by Zoom, just like you're appearing here today. I did receive your application for a court-appointed attorney. I am appointing an attorney to represent you. You have any other questions, Ms. Shorter?
No.
Okay, best of luck to you. You may be excused. Okay. Looks like I have one more female inmate. Is that correct, Miss?
Yes, ma'am, she's coming.
Okay.
Who the fuck is that? Who the fuck is Latrivia?
Good morning. Are you Leticia Usambara? Okay, and pardon me if I mispronounce your name. All right, ma'am, you have been charged with 2 offenses, both misdemeanors. You have a battery, family violence. I set that bond at $7,000. You also have a cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. I've set that bond at $3,000. Your total bond amount is $10,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Xavier Kruger. Do you understand everything I've mentioned so far?
Yes.
Okay. Your next court date is scheduled for January 9th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. by Zoom video conference. If you bond out before then, you won't have to come to court. If you're still incarcerated, you will be brought before the court for a preliminary hearing to determine whether or not there's enough evidence to keep you incarcerated. Because you're charged with misdemeanors, you can waive your preliminary hearing date, the January 9th date. So if you want to go ahead and waive that date now, you can, and you'll just receive a new court date in the mail of when to come back for arraignment, where you'll plead guilty or not guilty. Or you can leave it scheduled, and it'll be automatically waived once you bond out. Do you want to waive it, or do you want to leave it scheduled?
Leave it scheduled.
Okay, so it will remain as is. Let me take a look at your application for a court-appointed attorney. I see here that you are employed. You did not provide any income information. Do you want to be considered for a public defender, or do you plan on hiring your own attorney?
A public defender?
Okay, how much do you make per month?
I don't know, I just started this job.
Okay, what was your offer or your salary?
I would say maybe 1,200 a month.
Okay, I will appoint an attorney to represent you. And so you will have counsel present with you at all of your court proceedings. You have any questions for me, ma'am?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you may be excused. Thank you.
Hey, you want,
All right, so I think those are all the ladies. We can start from the top with the men.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
From the top with the men, let's get going. Which one will be our Ken? No, I'm just joking. Let's burn through this and see how we do. I don't hate her as a judge. I don't love her, but I don't hate her. I'll just say that. Also, if you're just getting here, make sure that you've clocked in for your shift. Hey, Crystal. Like the video, subscribe, all the free things you can do to help me.
hello,
Good morning. May I have your name?
Ash.
All right, Mr. Ash. So you have been charged with several offenses. You've been charged with trafficking morphine, opium, heroin. I've set that bond at $20,000. You've been charged with possession of a firearm by a felon. I've set that bond at $10,000. You've been charged with possession of marijuana less than an ounce. That bond is $1,000. You've been charged with driving on a suspended or revoked license. That bond is $1,000. You've also been charged with felony possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime. That bond is set at $5,000. And last, you've been charged with being in possession of a controlled substance in violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act, a Schedule I drug. That bond is $5,000. So your total bond amount between all 6 offenses is $42,000. Do you understand what I have mentioned so far? All right, your next court date is scheduled for January 8th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. It will take place by Zoom video conference if you're still incarcerated. If you make bond before then, that court date is waived. You won't have to come back to court. You'll receive a new court date in the mail. I did receive your application for a court-appointed attorney. And I will appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions regarding the information I just gave you, Mr. Ash? Okay, you may be excused, sir. All right, next person, please. Good morning. May I have your name?
Johan.
What's your name?
Johan Alvarez.
Is it Johan Mansilla Alvarez?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. All right, sir. So you've been charged with 3 misdemeanors. You have a possession of THC oil. That bond is $1,000. Furnishing alcohol to a minor. That bond is $1,500. And you have an open container violation. That bond is $500. So your total bond is $3,000. You understand? I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure you understand everything I've said so far. Total bond is $3,000. Your next court date is scheduled for January 9th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. If you're still in jail by January 9th, it will take place by Zoom video conference. If you bond out before then, that court date is automatically waived and you won't have that court appearance. Or you can automatically waive it today by signing a waiver and it just moves your case along a little faster, or you can keep it scheduled. Do you want to waive that court date or you want to keep it scheduled?
So like I can bond out now?
You can bond out now, and once you bond out, it's automatically waived.
Yeah, I want to do that.
What's up?
You want to do what?
Cash bond?
Okay, so I'm gonna leave the court date scheduled since you believe you're gonna be able to bond out. And once you bond out, that court date will be waived and you'll receive a new court date in the mail. I did receive your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I will appoint an attorney to represent you, so you'll have counsel present. You have any questions for me, Mr. Alvarez?
No, no questions.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
All right, next person. Good morning. May I have your name?
Ricardo Alvarez. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Ricardo Alvarez.
Ready to go.
You have been charged with several offenses. You have a possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime. That's $7,000 bond. And you have 3 separate offenses of violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. I've set bond on each of those offenses at $5,000 apiece. So your total bond amount between all 4 offenses is $22,000. Do you understand what I've mentioned so far?
Yes,
Your next court date is scheduled for January 8th, 2024. That is your preliminary hearing date. It will take place by Zoom video conference if you're still incarcerated, and it will begin at 8:30 a.m. If you're no longer incarcerated, that court date is automatically waived and you'll receive a new court date in the mail. I received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I am appointing an attorney to represent you. You have any questions, Mr. Alvarez?
It's really the same question. If I post my bond,
I can't.
What is he asking about now? I don't know what he's blabbering on about. Hi, Mikey. Happy New Year's. Did you have a fun New Year's in North Carolina? Do you guys have any special traditions there? I hope it was good and you had a good time. Um, she set some pretty high bonds. She does. For it being Clayton County. Tell us, Mikey, is there anything special that goes on? Or is it just like setting off fireworks outside, people doing it like in their driveways? You know me, simple Canadian girl.
Hear you. You said
I
what?
pay my bond. I'll just have to come back to my court date on January 8th.
No, so if you pay your bond and you get out of jail, then your preliminary hearing is not needed, because the purpose of the preliminary hearing is to determine whether there's enough evidence to keep you in jail. But if you're not even in jail, then there's no purpose of that hearing, so it's automatically waived. So if you bond out, no, you do not have to come back on January 8th. But if you're still in jail, you will have to have a hearing on that date, and it'll be by Zoom video conference there at the jail. Okay? All right. Best of luck to you. You may be excused.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Good morning. May I have your name?
James Anderson.
Could we also have the address of your hairdresser, sir? Because we need to have a word with them as well. I'm not sure what's going on with his hair. Oh my God. Also, what did you eat today, Mikey, for dinner? We'd like to know what everyone has had for dinner. I haven't had dinner yet, so I'm just mostly hungry.
Okay, Mr. Anderson, you've been charged with several offenses. You've been charged with simple battery family violence. That bond is set at $2,500. You've been charged with three different aggravated assault offenses. I've set bond for each of those offenses at $10,000. And you've also been charged with a misdemeanor criminal trespass. That bond is set at $2,500. So your total bond amount between all 5 offenses is $35,000. Now, you do have a special condition. While this bond provision is in place, you are to stay away and have no contact with Cynthia Anderson, as well as Jada Parker, as well.
Beta? Did somebody name their kid Beta? That seems mean. Ooh, pizza, Omaha steaks and burgers, baked beans and potatoes. Bruce Davis, that sounds pretty yummy. Yeah, this guy's obviously, she's setting a high bond here on purpose, I guess.
As Officer Walter Pounds Jr.
That's small.
You understand?
That's small.
Hold on, I can't. So I can't hear you if I'm talking, and it. Give me a second. Let me get the information out to you. Then I'll ask you if you have any questions. Trust me, Mr. Anderson. I will give you an opportunity to ask any questions. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm giving you the information and that you're hearing me. So you're to stay away and have no contact with Cynthia Anderson, Jada Parker, or Officer Walter Pounds Jr. while this bond condition is in place. Your preliminary hearing date, I'm scheduling for January 8th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. and it will take place by Zoom video conference. If you're still in jail, we'll bring you up to have that hearing. If you bond out on this $35,000 bond prior to then, then that court date is waived. You won't have that preliminary hearing. You'll receive a new court date in the mail. I received your application and I have appointed an attorney to represent you in this case, Mr. Anderson. All right, now I'll turn the floor over to you. What questions do you have about the information I just gave you?
One, that's my only place of residence. Two, me and my mom share ownership of that car that's probably in impound right now.
Oh, tacos? I'm jealous now. What kind of tacos? Also, shirtless dad, you had hamburger helper minus the hamburger plus bacon, not recommended. Noted. It's Monday though. Is that too early for tacos? Is it okay to do tacos on a Monday? Is that a sign of the year to come? So many questions.
Okay, so what's your question?
No questions. Three, that's entrapment. If I'm told that I'm gonna write a statement and I get back and he says I assaulted him by pulling off. When you try to grab me out of the car and I'm trying to sign a statement, no, that's really entrapment.
Okay, so what I think you should do, and it'll best serve you, is talk to the attorney that I'm appointing for you. Because the information you're mentioning here today is not going to help you today because this is just an informational proceeding. So the January 8th court date that I gave you, that's the preliminary hearing date where there will be a hearing and you'll have an opportunity to testify should you choose to do so. And you'll have an opportunity to talk to your lawyer about whether or not there's sufficient evidence to keep these charges. So you'll have that hearing on that date. All right. Okay. Best of luck to you. You may be excused, sir.
Hey, come on, back.
Good morning. May I have your name? Speak up for me.
Oh,
Mr. Dupree.
Low bond, please? Is that what his name is? Low bond, please? And I'm getting consensus that tacos are available any day of the week. I have to agree. I don't have the taco stuff to make tacos.
Dupree, I have you right here. Good morning, sir. All right. Okay, so you've been charged with several offenses. You've been charged with simple battery. That bond is set at $5,000. You've also been charged with 2 cruelty to children in the first degree. I've set each of those offenses at $3,000 apiece. And you've also been charged with simple battery. That's another charge of simple battery. That bond is $5,000. So your total bond amount between all 4 offenses is $16,000. Now you do have some special conditions. That is to stay away and have no contact with Brandon Wright or Jessica Tarver. And I'm not allowing you to return back to 5076 Maple Drive in Forest Park, Georgia. Do you understand everything I've mentioned so far, Mr. Dupree? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Did you understand everything I've mentioned so far?
Yes.
Okay, all right, excellent. Give me 1 second. Let me take a look at your court-appointed application. Before I move forward, let me ask you, did you have any belongings that you needed to get from that residence, sir?
No, not really.
Okay. All right. So your next court date is scheduled for January 8th. 2024 at 8:30 a.m. It will take place by Zoom video conference. If you're still in jail, we'll bring you up. You'll have a hearing as to whether or not there's enough evidence to keep you in jail. But if you're no longer in jail and you make this bond, that court date will be canceled and you'll receive a new court date in the mail. I did receive your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I am appointing an attorney to represent you. You have any questions, Mr. Dupree?
Could you repeat that bond?
Yes, no problem. So the total amount between all the offenses is 16,000. So that's 5,000.
Bye, Mikey. I hope you have a good night. Thanks for stopping by and making us hungry for tacos. We appreciate it.
A piece on the 2 battery charges and 3,000 a piece on the 2 cruelty to children. So total amount 16.
Okay.
Understood?
Okay.
Okay. Best of luck to you, sir.
Anyway,
All right, next. Good morning. May I have your name?
Malcolm Freeland.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Freeling. All right, so you've been charged with several offenses. You've been charged one with aggravated stalking. Your second one is aggravated assault. You also have simple battery and you have obstruction of an officer. Now, on the aggravated stalking, I am not setting a bond here today pursuant to OCGA 1761, but I will give you a separate bond hearing date. That bond hearing date will take place on January 12th, 2024 at 8:30. It will occur by Zoom video conference, just like you're appearing here today. And then also your second offense, the aggravated assault, exercising discretion to deny bond. Bond has been considered and denied on the ag assault. So on your 2 felonies, no bond. Same bond hearing date of January 12th on that offense as well. Now your misdemeanor, simple battery, I did set a bond at 3,000. And then your obstruction of an officer, I did set a bond on that. That's 1,500. You do have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Jasmine Freeling. Your preliminary hearing date, that is separate from your bond hearing date. Your preliminary hearing will take place on January 8th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. By Zoom video conference as well. So you will have an opportunity to address whether or not there's sufficient probable cause to keep you detained on the charges that I just mentioned to you. I did receive your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I am appointing an attorney to represent you, Mr. Freeling. You have any questions for me?
Okay, so yes, I won't be able to bond out at all.
You won't, because right now I'm denying on the 2 felonies. I'm denying. I've reviewed your criminal history. I've taken into consideration the nature of the offenses, the protection of the public, the likelihood of reoffending. And that is the decision I've made on the ag assault. And also on the aggravated stalking, I've denied bond in accordance with Georgia law. Okay. I've given you 2 court dates. This is not the end of everything. You certainly can have bond addressed, but it won't be until January 12th, unless your lawyer that I appointed, unless your lawyer works things out before then, which is not uncommon. So you'll have to talk to your lawyer about your options moving forward. Understood? All right. You may be excused, sir.
You may be excused, sir. And in fact, we are pretty much going to be excused. I didn't realize the time. It's almost 6 o'clock. I am super hungry. I know it was a bit of a short one today, but it is New Year's Day. That's my shortened version. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate each and every one of you and how much fun we've had this year so far. It's been awesome. Seriously. Hi Chris. You're just in time for me to say bye. It was a pretty good docket. So Sheena's gonna have a premiere. Go check it out. Mikey's back tomorrow with a regular schedule of court and chases, I think. I'll be in tomorrow night for court. I gotta go. I love you guys. Remember, I love you. I'm proud of you. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. I said bye.